ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another third-party, unlicensed 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review video. Now today, we are going to be taking a look at none other than the Present Toys Jones, aka Indiana Jones from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, say for instance, you're a new collector, you've just entered the hobby, and you're looking for an Indiana Jones. You check out the price tag on the DX05 and you decide, no, that one's not for me. Would this one potentially fill that void in your display? Well, that's what hopefully we're going to find out throughout the course of the video. Now, I got mine from Comic Sanctorum. Do bear in mind this is a third-party unofficial product. I have put the link in the description below for your reference purposes only. This is not a promotional video, this is a review on a figure I picked up for my own personal collection. What we are going to do now though is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. Here of course we have the box art and I absolutely love it. An image of Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones front and center, his accessories down below, Jones up top, Present Toys on the side, and all of the warnings printed on the back of the box. However, if you do slide off the top cover, you have another stunning image. Harrison Ford once again, Jones, Present Toys on the side, and then those very same warnings are printed on this piece of artwork. I don't know why there are multiple layers of artwork, but hey, I'm not complaining, I love the way they look. Now, this figure, interestingly enough, has a bit of a party piece, which is the main reason why I decided to pick him up, and it's detailed on the other side of this card. Dear customer, the coat is made of leather. You read that right, his jacket is made of real leather. We will discuss what that means though in just a second. First in-hand impressions are pretty darn positive. What we are going to do now though is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. Here we have all the parts and pieces. Now, starting off with the display base first, it's simple, but it gets the job done perfectly. It's the old school oval style base, Jones up top, and it fits the theme of Indiana Jones. Up top, you do have a regular crotch grabber. You do get two different Indiana Jones head sculpts, both of which have been recast from other artists' work. Now, it's going to be up to you to decide whether or not that's something that upsets you, but at the very least, they are two very good sculpts. I do, however, prefer this one. The skin texture, the stubble detail, the paint applications for the skin, and the likeness, I think are really good. Is this the best Harrison Ford head sculpt I've seen in 1/6 scale? I don't know, it does come close. I do also like that the hat is permanently sculpted to his head, and there is a real fabric ribbon up top. He also has some hair details sculpted around the back. Now the other one is a much more goofy smile. This one I also like, but I do think the teeth let it down ever so slightly. They're far too white. I can see the Harrison Ford likeness, however. Do let me know which of these two sculpts you prefer down in the comments below. Now, as I said a moment ago, one of the main reasons why I picked this guy up is the real leather jacket. Now, using real leather for 1/6 scale clothing is, in some ways, a great idea, because that means it's never going to degrade if you treat it well. But also, it means that it's going to be a little bit big and bulky, which is exactly what you're seeing here. This is a very sturdy jacket. Does that mean it's going to look slightly goofy on him? Well, we'll find out a little bit later on. It is also very clean. They haven't applied any dirt and grime and weathering on the surface. I'm fine with that because this is real leather and it should age over time if you pose up your figure. But for now, yes, it does look very pristine. That, however, is not it for the real leather. The holster and this belt are also leather. I've said leather about 1,000 times, and I'm sure I'm going to say it a bunch more. This on my DxO5 degraded very, very quickly, so I'm super glad that I have another option, and it's not going to flake in the same way that one did. I like the colour, and I like the magnetic closure for the holster. You can of course slot his pistol in this, and then use this strap for his whip. Seeing as I just mentioned them, we may as well talk about these next. You do have a working hammer section, the middle piece can rotate, and it's painted very nicely. It's cast in a gunmetal grey, and then there's some silver dry brushing on the surface, plus some brown and gold for the handle. Now, the whip I don't believe is made of leather, I think this is pleather. You do have a wire that extends halfway down to about there, and then it's simply just a drape piece. This will hang down quite naturally. I love the weave, and I can't imagine this was easy to manufacture, because there are multiple pieces of leather that have been wrapped around this central wire. He also comes with his notebook. This is super simple. It's literally just a blank notebook. There are a ton of empty pages, and you can detail this if you so choose. I'm pretty sure there was supposed to be a binding on this, but on mine it unfortunately didn't come with it. You also get a satchel. Now you do have some faux buttons up the front, there is one real press stud underneath, so yes, you can open it and store stuff inside. The bag is made of fabric, but the strap is made of pleather, so I am slightly worried that the strap will degrade over time. Lastly, you do get 4 additional hands. These are by no means the best hands I've ever seen in 1/6 scale, but they're also not the worst. They're not that waxy, glossy plastic, they have a matte finish, there's a ton of texture and detail plus veinwork sculpted into the top, and they are painted very nicely. What we are going to do now, though, is get Indiana Jones himself out here and take a closer look. Here we have him standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that, although he is currently wearing his jacket. The jacket itself looks good, but not great. Because it is real hide, it's not able to be shrunk down properly to 1/6 scale. There's just nothing really you can do about it. This is real leather. That's the drawback of working with real leather in this scale. It means it's very thick. So the jacket does look big and bulky. I am curious, let me know down below, do you prefer to go with real leather for longevity, or do you prefer to go with pleather so you're not sacrificing the thin fabric for the look of the jacket? Now the rest of the outfit I have no problems with, I really like it. The choice of materials, the colours, it looks very accurate. Plus, that coupled with the really strong likeness in the head sculpt, yeah, this guy gets a tick from me. What we are going to do now, though, is take him off the rotating turntable, punch in, and take a closer look at the details. Here we have him up close and personal. Now in just a second we will be trying out the smiling head sculpt, because I'm pretty curious to see what that looks like on the body. Is it going to look better, or is it going to look worse? We'll find out, don't you worry. This head sculpt though I really like. The skin tone match between the neck and the head is on point. Now some people did have an issue with the neck looking slightly too short. I'm pleased to report that if you pull the jacket down, tuck the shirt in, and spread the collar apart, it looks just fine. I personally have no issues. However, because the jacket is rather thick and bulky, yes, it does artificially make his neck look a little bit shorter. But if you do spend the time, you can get it to look really good. The jacket does hug the body in all the right places, but it is still just that little bit bulky as we discussed earlier. Now the shirt does have some faux buttons, but also some press studs. I kind of wish this was sewn together because those press studs are very, very obvious. It also does split apart, and you can see his chest is fully sculpted. Although there isn't any hair detail sculpted or painted in, it's very smooth. He also has some pockets that are real, and technically you could slot something in there. Now coming down to his belts, I do have the gun belt with the little pleather whip holster on one side and then the actual pistol holster on the other. His pistol does slot in there perfectly and then the magnet does come across and hold it in place. It's a little bit fiddly to do, but trust me, it absolutely does work. He also has a real metal belt buckle for his main belt that, holds his pants up. Coming down to those pants, they are very crisp and clean. If I was to have one complaint for the entire figure, it would be just that. He looks like a brand new indie. There is no dirt and no grime anywhere. I guess that's something you could add if you wanted to, but it's not something that I'm really interested in doing. I would have preferred if he came pre-weathered. Speaking of weathering, his shoes surprisingly are quite weathered. You do have some dirt around the front and underneath, with some fully sculpted detail around the edges of his soles. The shoes are also actual material. They aren't fully sculpted. You do have real laces, and this does mean you will get maximum range of motion out of the ankles. Although I am worried that these will degrade over time, because I highly doubt these are made of real leather. But for the most part, right now, yeah, they do look really good. As for the second head sculpt though, this isn't all that bad. Now, some people I've seen online absolutely pan this head sculpt. I don't think it's awful. I think the likeness is there and I do like the expression. It's something slightly different, and if you do have the Hot Toys Indie and the Sideshow one, those two aren't smiling. This is a very unique expression. It does also sit ever so slightly higher on the neck, so it makes it look a little bit longer, and everything looks like it's in proportion. But once again, I turn it over to you, the viewer. Which head sculpt do you prefer? Now for a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have all three indies standing together. Hot Toys DX05 on the right, Present Toys in the middle, and Sideshow on the left. Now it's going to be down to personal preference which one you're going to go with. For me, I would love a blend of all three. I like them for different reasons. That's why I picked them all up. Now the Sideshow one is from Temple of Doom. It's a very unique and different look as compared to the other two. I love the Sideshow head sculpt. I think it's phenomenal. The likeness is on point. I love the accessories and I love the outfit. But the body is far too big. He is a giant, alongside these guys and alongside other figures in the display. Plus, he has that single bend exposed jointed elbow. Now, as for Present Toys and Hot Toys, they are a lot closer in comparison. I do think the Present Toys head sculpt is superior. The Hot Toys one is starting to age, especially with the purrs. Yes, his eyes can move and you can swap out the hat for a hairpiece, but because they've used all of those gimmicks, there are some drawbacks. The hat sits a little bit too high and the eyes look very sunken in. His jacket is made of pleather, but that means it's a lot thinner, so it sits on the body far better. It also has weathering and painted detail on the surface. Now, the rest of the outfit is almost identical. It's all fabric. The Hot Toys one is slightly more yellow and his pants are weathered and a little bit sun-bleached, but other than that, it is, once again, going to be down to personal preference. I like all three, but I'm curious, which one do you prefer? Just going over articulation. Now, bear in mind, this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I'm sure when you get yours in hand, you can push the joints slightly further than I am willing to go. Also, because of the bulky real leather jacket, the joints in the upper torso are going to be a little bit more hindered. Now, starting off with the head sculpt, it is on a double ball peg, looking forward and back, a significant range, swivel, and then a ton of pivot side to side. The arms will go up to there on very clicky ratchets. They will go forward and back, although I am really fighting with both the joint and the jacket itself. Butterfly joint at the shoulder, swivel down here at the elbow that also single bends. You do get a regular 1/6 scale wrist peg. Now the torso can crunch forward and back, swivel, and pivot side to side. The legs go forward on extremely clicky ratchets to there. They will go out to there. Swivel at the upper thigh. double bend at the knee that does go past 90, plus a double ball peg down here for the ankle. Just wrapping up on the Present Toys Indiana Jones. Now going into this, I was so excited to bust out that real leather jacket, and for the most part, yeah, it does what it says on the tin. It is real leather. But the good things kind of end there. It's not going to degrade, but part of me kind of wishes it would, because it's so big and bulky. Because real hide isn't scaled down to 1/6 scale, it's technically 1:1, it's not going to work perfectly for this size of jacket. And it doesn't. It limits articulation, it makes him look like he has no neck, plus it's completely unweathered. Say what you will about the Hot Toys figure, but that jacket looks way better than this one does. However, this one does do some things better than the Hot Toys figure. I love the head sculpts. Yes, even the goofy expression one. I know these could potentially be recasts, which is a dirty word. It's going to be up to you to decide whether or not that's going to stop you from picking up this figure, but for me, I really like the sculpts. I like the choice of body with the ratchet joints, the accessories are great, and the rest of the outfit is on point. So if you can get around the jacket and know how to work with its bulkiness and get it to look good, then this could be your indie in the collection. For me, I still love the DX05. I'm tempted to use this head sculpt on that figure. Now, I got mine from Comic Sanctorum. Do bear in mind this is a third-party, unlicensed, unofficial product. Now, I have popped the link in the description below for your reference purposes only. This is by no means a promotional video, this is a review on a figure I picked up for my own personal collection. While you are in the description, why not check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.